First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and a sincere salutation to the Akim pushing his truth in sincerity, Ba'ashem Rokak Wadash. As you can see, the title of this article says Biden signs into law bill establishing Juneteenth as federal holiday. It says Juneteenth celebrates June 19th, 1865, when a Union Army general arrived in Galveston, Texas, and informed enslaved African Americans that the Civil War had ended and they were free. Okay, let's read the article because, they can sign, a bill to establish a federal holiday, but nonetheless, man, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are still slaves, even unto this day. Okay, it's just a modern slavery. Okay, it's just more psychological, okay, than ever. Okay, we don't have chains, but there's chains on the mind. So no federal holiday can never take that away. Okay, because that's the truth. It's the truth of the matter that we are still slaves here in America. And it's proven, okay? It's proven by the injustices, the systematic racism, okay? The shooting of so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans by police officers, okay, for petty things. Okay, so let's read this article and get some scriptures. Lord willing, this will be edifying. It says, Washington. President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law Thursday, officially making June 19th a federal holiday and giving national recognition to a day commemorating emancipation. Okay, so basically, June 19th is going to be a federal holiday from now on, and it's going to give recognition to a day, okay, in which it's going to be a celebration of the freeing of the slaves. Okay, but are we free? No, not in any way, shape, or form. We still very much are under rule. Okay, we are taxed. We are oppressed. There's injustices even unto this day. Okay, there's racism. Okay, was not, a whole movement, which we don't support, but the Black Lives Matter, that's basically, people rising up, making a statement that Black Lives Matter, stop killing so-called black people, so as you can see, if these days are, if these movements are still going on, if protests are still going on for the senseless killing of our people, then we are not free, and no federal law, okay, can commemorate any emancipation, because we are not emancipated, we're not free. All right, so it says Juneteenth marks both a long, hard night of slavery and subjugation. You see. A long, hard night of slavery and subjugation. That's what it's been. Okay, it's been a rigorous captivity under these so-called Edomites, whom are in power. Okay, it says, and you got to watch how these devils speak, man. What they say in their speeches, because they speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. Okay, it's a joke unto them. Okay, so it says Juneteenth marks both a long, hard night of slavery and subjugation and the promise of a brighter morning to come, Biden said in a signing ceremony at the White House. This is a day, in my view, of profound weight and profound power, a day in which we'll remember the moral stain, terrible toll that slavery took on the country and continues to take. You see, slavery is continuous in this country. Okay, that's not a lie. Okay, here it is, the so-called Native Americans were land was taken from them. The so-called Negroes were brought over here in bondage, and now Latinos, okay, they are living, okay, in fear of being deported. Okay, so there is a continuous fight of racism that still has to be addressed. Okay, so this guy can sign a day, a bill marking June 19th as a day of emancipation, but that's far from the case. All right, and look at how they do. They put Jake around these Edomites for a photo op. Okay, and but this is far from the case, man. Let's see. So let's continue reading. It says Vice President Kamala Harris, the first female and black vice president, said designating a federal holiday makes an important statement. These are days when we as a nation have decided to stop and take stock, and often to acknowledge our history, Harris said, urging people to be clear-eyed about the realities of slavery and the long fight for freedom. So, this devil, man, they think they can, after all these years, sign a day, okay, to commemorate emancipation, but, we see through this, man. We see through this. They want to say that it's over, and we've come together, and things are going to get better and whatnot. But you're going to see in the days leading up that there's going to be more killings. There's going to be more racial injustice. Okay, because Jacob and Esau are enemies from the womb. Okay, from the inception. Okay. From the beginning. Okay, this is how the Heavenly Father elected it to be. Okay, one shall be stronger than the other. Okay, and the younger, the elder shall serve the younger. Okay, meaning these Edomites will eventually serve us. Let's continue reading. Oh, wait a minute. It says, because June 19th is a Saturday this year, most federal employees will observe the holiday on Friday. You see? You see how they do it? So they signed it. It's to be commemorated on the 19th, but hey, federal employees are going to observe the holiday on Friday. You see? It just gives them a day off. These devils, man. You see? Everything is a joke. Everything's a joke with these devils, man. Nothing is clear. Nothing is straight. They just BS you to death. And they lie and they continue to make mockery of slavery and speak lightly of it. But there's a heavy judgment. Okay, for scriptures say, for what a man soweth, that shall he reap. All right, so it says the House voted 14 on Wednesday to make Juneteenth a national federal holiday. A day after the Senate cleared the bill without debate, the only no votes came from Republicans. And they have to do that. They have to show, okay, another side, an opposition, but there really is no opposition. Republican, Democrats, it's all the same. Okay. And not only that, but Vladimir Putin, he just came and spoke to Joe Biden. They had a summit. All right. And they spoke about certain issues. But even he, constantly brings up how America's foundation is slavery. Okay. And, America's always blaming him for, interfering with the elections and so on and so forth. And he said in the interview, or basically he had said that he's surprised that they didn't blame him from the Black Lives Matter movement, which was a jab at them for the systematic racism here in this country. And he's always bringing it out. You know, he's always bringing out how the Americans claim to be a country of equality and a country of a democracy, you know, the good old USA, when on all actuality, they're far from that. All right. So it says, let's continue. Juneteenth, also known as Emancipation Day. And when you look up that word emancipation, it basically means, one of the definitions is a freeing of someone from slavery. Okay. So Emancipation Day, Salaki, Juneteenth, also known as Emancipation Day, Black Independence Day, and Jubilee Day, is the 11th federal holiday and the first new federal holiday since Martin Luther King Jr. Day was created in 1983. And that's another thing. Speaking about Martin Luther King Jr., hey, he was assassinated, okay? And it's a known fact that he was actually in cahoots with the Rothschilds. You know, he was trying to get, so-called Negroes to basically bow down, of their own will. And when he realized that, at the end, that there was no, really need for that it was never going to work, he even said out of his own mouth, I do believe I have integrated my people into a burning house, okay? Meaning that he was, the effort that he had made to try to bring blacks and whites together was to be of no avail, okay? And he basically was assassinated, okay? Because they used him and then they discarded of him, okay? So, and then they made a day, okay? They made a federal holiday. So it goes to show you how these devils, they're very crafty. They don't care, it's a joke to them, because these devils work in deception, okay? Whatever to trick your mind. See, that's the goal. The goal of the so-called Edomite is to basically to manipulate your mind to make you think, okay, that all is well, and that they're working for your cause. They don't care how low they have to stoop and what they have to do to make their deception work. You see? So let's continue. It says Juneteenth celebrates the end of slavery and commemorates June 19th, 1865, when Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and informed enslaved African Americans that the Civil War had ended and they were free. Granger's message came more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. You see? So Granger's message came more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. So let's read real quick. Let's just read this. It says, on September 22, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, which declared that as of January 1st, 1863, all enslaved people in the states currently engaged in rebellion against the Union shall be thenceforward and forever free. Okay? So if Abraham Lincoln, okay, declared 2 years prior that enslaved people that were engaged in rebellion against the Union were forever free, why was there a need for this guy, General Gordon Granger, on June 19, 1865, to go to African Americans and proclaim them to be free? Why wasn't the first day, Emancipation Proclamation by the President Abraham Lincoln? Why wasn't it honored to the T? Okay, 2 years later, you got General Gordon Granger doing the same. And when you look, slavery has been going on since even unto this day. Look at in the 60s. Look at what went down in the 60s. You know, look at the Watts riots. You know, look at the history, you know, of America. You know, this place was built on slavery. You see? So no federal holiday could ever commemorate any emancipation because we're not emancipated. Okay? It says let's run this back. Juneteenth celebrates the end of slavery and commemorates June 19th, 1865, when Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and informed enslaved African Americans that the Civil War had ended and they were free. Granger's message came more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. You see? So they don't honor, you know, their own laws. Okay, they don't honor what they say, man. Think about that. For more than 2 years, the enslaved people of Texas were kept in servitude. For more than 2 years, they were intentionally kept from their freedom, Harris said. Okay? Right. They were intentionally kept in their freedom, even after 2 years. The 13th Amendment was ratified a few months later in December 1865, formally abolishing slavery in the U.S. You see? The date is already celebrated as a state or ceremonial holiday in 47 states, and the District of Columbia, Texas, became the first to make it state holiday in 1980. Okay? Let's continue reading. Wow. It says, among 80 members of Congress, local elected officials, and community leaders and activists attended the signing ceremony Thursday in one of the largest events Biden has hosted at the White House. Among the guests were the musician Usher. Yeah. You know, that's, yeah. And Opal Lee, 94, the activist from Fort Worth, Texas, who is credited with having led the fight to make Juneteenth a nationwide federal holiday. I think this will go down for me as one of the greatest honors I have had as president, Biden said before he signed the bill. The push to make Juneteenth a federal holiday was catalyzed last summer after a white police officer in Minneapolis murdered George Floyd, a black man, sparking nationwide protests and conversations about how the country should address its history of racism. Okay? So the push for Juneteenth, a federal holiday, was catalyzed last summer, okay, after the white police officer killed George Floyd. You see? So why do so-called Negroes want to push this? Okay, if there is a history of racism. Okay, what does it say here? The killing of George Floyd, what, a black man, by a so-called white police officer, sparked nationwide protests and conversations about the country should address its history of racism. You see, Congress remains at odds over how to address recent legislation in Republican-controlled state legislators to restrict voting access as well as police reform. School boards nationwide have also erupted in fights about how to teach children about racism and equity. You see, you know, from what I've read, okay, in the past, I heard they're trying to get rid of racism in the history books. You know? The bottom. Let's get to the bottom. Let's just read this bottom last paragraph. You could read this paragraph article when you get a chance. This is the title of it. It's on what is this? NBC News. Let's read this last paragraph and get some scriptures, and I'll close it out. It says, although the holiday will be observed for the roughly 2 million employees of the federal government, it is unclear how many states or private employers will recognize it. You see? You know, some holidays are bigger than others. So we'll see who recognizes it, but nonetheless, we don't recognize it. And I want to read this. This is Exodus 5, okay? And, this is speaking of this chapter, okay? Moses and Aaron go into Pharaoh, okay? And ask for him to let the people of Israel go. And let's see what he says, okay? Because, a lot of you people are going to come to find out that the Israelites are the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay? And there is no slavery like has been done unto the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, let me just get this before I get that. This is Zechariah 1:15. It says, and I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction. Okay, so the Lord is Yahweh Bashim Yashai is sore displeased with the heathen. Okay, starting with Esau, Edom, and these other nations. Okay, that are at ease. See, because they're living it up. Okay, their people didn't go into hardcore slavery. You got a lot of people saying, yeah, white people went into slavery, the Irish and all this. But listen, nothing has been done under the heaven like it has been done to so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And that's just facts. For I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction. Now, when you go into this word forward, it says it's evil.
Strong's H 7451, Ra, and second entry, Ra.
Right.
Third entry, Ra.
Right. Evil, distress, misery, injury, calamity. Right. They help forward. Okay, the punishment that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai did to the Israelites. They went above and beyond. Starting with these Edomites. But let's go back to Exodus, because I wanted to make a point. The Lord is very displeased with you nations, especially you Edomites. But let's read this. It says, Exodus 5, and afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus saith Yahweh, the Most High of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is Yahweh that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not Yahweh, neither will I let Israel go. And they said, the God of the Hebrews hath met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto Yahweh our power, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword. Okay, so they're saying, they told Pharaoh, hey, the Most High of the Hebrews, okay, is basically, they were messengers. He's telling you, hey, let Israel go. And Pharaoh was like, I don't know the God of who you're speaking of, neither will I let them go. Okay, and they were like, please let us go and make a feast unto the Most High in the desert. Okay, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword. They're saying, lest he be angry, and his wrath come down. And this is what Pharaoh continues to say. And the king of Egypt said unto them, wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their works get you unto your burdens? You see, so Pharaoh basically said, to Moses and Aaron, why are you keeping the people from their work? Basically telling them to, hey, get back to work. You see, and see it. The thing about it is, the history of the Israelites, okay, in oppression, those that ruled over them always, basically was telling them, hey, man, get back to work, okay? And here in America, they sign Emancipation Proclamations. They make federal holidays, but in reality, they want you to just get back to work. You see? Let's get this in the NLT. It says, Pharaoh replied, Moses and Aaron, why are you distracting the people from their task? Get back to work. Okay, so, and that's their sentiment with you, Jakes, man. Hey, get back to work. Okay? What does it say here? Granger's message came more than 2 years after the President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. It says, think about that. For more than 2 years, the enslaved people of Texas were kept in servitude. Okay, so whether Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, hey, they were still kept in servitude for 2 more years. Basically, spiritually, these Edomites were telling them, hey, yeah, okay, we signed this bill, get back to work, whatever. You see, and that's the point I'm trying to make. The history, okay, of racism towards the Israelites. These holidays, these things that they do, it's just a slap in the face. You're still a slave. You still got to get back to work. You're still they're gonna rule over you with rigor. You see what I'm saying? There's no freedom. Okay, and this place is spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Okay, it says, and Pharaoh said, behold, the people of the land now are many, and ye make them rest from their burdens. Okay. So Pharaoh wasn't having it, Pharaoh wasn't having it. Okay. He was telling them, hey, man, you're keeping the people from their tasks, man. Matter of fact, why don't you two, get back to work, And after they signed this bill, they telling, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, hey, man, get back to work. What does it say here? Although the holiday will be observed for the roughly 2 million employees of the federal government, it is unclear how many states or private employers will recognize it. So, who's going to recognize it? What companies? Is it going to really be observed or what not? Either way, in the meanwhile, get your ass back to work. Okay? And that's the point I want to make. And this is for you so-called blacks and you Latinos, man. You Native Americans. You're oppressed together constantly. I don't know why you got Jake to this day still at the White House trying to sign laws and stuff. This is Jeremiah 50 and 33. It says, thus say Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Okay, so Judah and Israel are oppressed together. Okay, and those that have them captive, they refuse to let them go. You see, but there's a price to pay for that. Let's look up this word, oppressed. Nice shock.
Strong's H 6231. Ishak.
Right. It says to press upon, oppress, violate, defraud, do violence, get deceitfully wrong, extort, to oppress, wrong, extort, to be exploited, be crushed. All right. And if we're not oppressed or violated and defrauded and extorted and exploited, then I don't know who is. Both Judah and Israel. And they refuse to let you Jakes go. You're still a number. Okay, you're looked upon as 3/5 of a man. The laws, they don't favor you. Okay, and you're still getting shot down in the streets. Okay, they made a whole movement called Black Lives Matter, for crying out loud, showing you that they don't care whether you live or whether you die, and they show it through their policy. Okay, and in the days to come, they're gonna reveal their mask. They're gonna reveal their mask. They're gonna reveal themselves. This is Exodus 21 and 16. It says, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. Okay, and how did the so-called Negro get to America? He was stolen. Okay, he was put into captivity. He was made a prisoner. He was made a slave. Okay, and he was sold here in America. And he is, along with the house of Israel, is found in the hand of their oppressor. Okay, we are still under subjection by our oppressor. And what did Biden say? Because this dude, man, You know, him along with these other devils. You gotta really, you gotta really take notice what they say. It says Juneteenth marks both a long, hard night of slavery and subjugation. Okay? Because here it is. They signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and 2 years later, they were still slaves. You see? They were still subjugated. Okay? It says, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. So he's going to be put to death for that. Okay? We're basically prisoners of war. We're kidnapped. Okay, under this man's hand. Revelation 13:9. And then I'm going to end it out. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Okay, so that's the patience and the faith of the saints. That he that hath led Israel into captivity, that he's going to go into captivity. We've woken up now. We know who our enemy is. We know who the oppressor is, the wicked. Okay, and he has killed with the sword. Well, he must be killed with the sword. Okay. And this is our patience, and this is what we're patient and waiting for this for the avenging of our people, okay? Because this is what's going to happen, thus saith Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. But that was it. Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to say shalom.